Hello and welcome to our midweek live stream here on the Fret Prince channel. On the agenda today, I thought I'd talk a little bit about tritone substitutions, some of the dominant pentatonic scale things, expand on that. We talked a little bit about that last time. And some of the basics of chord melody arranging. So I welcome you here to chat with me and discuss a little bit. See, Jeffrey here is here. Good morning. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So let's go over some of the basic ideas on tritones and the intervals there. Make some minor adjustments here. I'll mention that I'm streaming vertically and horizontally, and going out to a few other platforms as well. Let's say we're playing the Autumn Leaves, and we're playing in E minor. We're going to start with the 2, 5 in the relative major. So we could play, improvise, let's say use that dominant pentatonic we talked about in the last live stream, which is a lot like a major pentatonic. So a major pentatonic would sound like this. But the dominant pentatonic, we're gonna, instead of playing B, in this case we play C. That helps us outline a little more of the specifics of the dominant 7th chord. So we get kind of a D9. So what if we wanted to create a little extra tension as we moved into the G major 7? So with the D7, or the D dominant pentatonic, we could resolve like that. Right. But if we want to I'll dial things up a little bit. Let's say we have A minor. So let's play the A minor, D7 to the G, because that kind of follows the key. It stays in key and everything, but we get into some specifics, create some tension, and then release with that dominant pentatonic. Well, what if we wanted to have a little more tension? We play like this. So what I'm doing there is instead of D dominant pentatonic, I'm playing A flat dominant pentatonic. And so that offers us a little bit more of an outside sound. It offers us some kind of enclosure sort of sounds as well, because if we have this from the A flat 7, right, then we can play a half step above and below the root note of the G. Another kind of cool concept is to use both of those too. So we have dominant D dominant pentatonic, just doing 4 out of the 5 notes, and then going to A flat dominant pentatonic, and then resolving to the G there. So it offers us a little bit of tension. Okay, well, let's talk about liking and subscribing. Please do hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. A few of announcements. Speaking of notifications and all that, later this week, I plan to release a new chord melody video on Christmas time is here. So from kind of Charlie Brown Christmas, it's really a great tune. I've been listening to a bunch of different recordings on it, guitar ones as well. So I'm excited to put that out there. I have 2 shorts on it already. So if you want to get a head start, a running start on this arrangement, check out the shorts video, and I plan to release a 3rd. So they're going to be 4 shorts where I just do 4 measures each on the chord melody. So welcome. We have a new viewer here. Thanks for chatting. All right, so check that out. So I'll release one later today, one on Thursday, and I think I'll have the full video on Friday. That's the plan anyway. So yeah, so I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. All right, everybody. Well, let's talk a little bit more here. So, like I said, the cool thing here is that you've got you have a little tension there with when you take the dominant pentatonic and then you use a tritone substitution on it. So that's the concept there. You take a scale or even a chord, and you try to take a tone that's a tritone away from it. It's particularly interesting because the tones, the 3 and the 7 of the D, end up kind of flip-flopping in a way and become the 7 and the 3 of the A flat. So it's a nice way to dial in some tension as we go. So Quantum Dots, thanks for joining. Thanks for checking this out. So let's say we're on the 2-5 to the relative minor in E minor. How could we use this as well in this area? So we have F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Let's say B7, and then the E minor. I'm playing E minor 6/9. So that kind of sound, we've got that would be a kind of good 2-5. That's very inside. But was it B7? What's the tritone from the root note of the B? That would be F. Right. So then we could build lines like we could go F sharp minor 7 flat 5 to F7, then to the E minor. So right. So we've got all right. Okay, we have a comment here. That guitar is gorgeous. Thanks. Gibson or Ibanez. It's an Ibanez. Ibanez. Let me get it on the screen here. Yeah, it's an Ibanez. If you can see the headstock at all, but Yeah, Ibanez. Pretty happy with Ibanez in general. I feel like it's a kind of good value for money. That's what I oftentimes tell folks about Ibanez in general. Um, so I'm pretty happy with it. I think one thing, kind of relating to guitars and stuff on channel. This guitar just works really well as an all around instrument. So I think for the time being, I'm going to record pretty much everything on this and maybe do some on my Ibanez. That's more of a Les Paul style. I have one of those too. I am interested in doing hollow body kind of at some point, but um, we'll see when that's probably pretty far off in the future. But uh, yeah, I would say the Gibson prices are um, yeah, maybe a little high. I have a student who's got a custom shop, and it's like really an amazing instrument. Um, so yeah, all right, Vendiota, thanks for coming back. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna have a live stream on Wednesday mornings here and Sunday mornings in general at 10:30. We'll talk guitar improvisation, kind of voicings and all that. So I'm gonna do it maybe a little more playing here. So, building in a little bit of some tension into the progression by using some of those tritone substitutions that apply to single lines. So you can use arpeggios, you can use um, kind of those dominant pentatonics I was talking about. Or you can also just think in terms of outlining notes on strong beats and all that. Okay, so it's midnight in Malaysia. Wow, it's a lot of good guitars come out of. Is it Malaysia, or maybe I'm thinking something else? But yeah, you must be tired. I hope you can hang with us for another maybe 30 minutes. I'll probably be on 30 minutes or so. All right. Costas Gaber asks, Gibson is a style for jazz or no? Yeah, I mean that's a whole topic in and of itself. I would say I wouldn't think in terms of brands for jazz playing necessarily. I would tend tend to think what kind of body shape and what kind of sound are you going for as far as that goes. I mean, you have hollow body, semi-hollow like this one, and solid body. You also have chambered instruments, and really jazz can be played on in any of those style of body shapes. So a lot of examples of different people playing. I think Pat Martino played kind of a chambered guitar later in his career from Benedetto, if I'm not mistaken. And uh, Mike Stern, Bill Frisell, you know, oftentimes see them with Telecaster style bodies. Ted Green. So the Telecaster thing is kind of whole thing. Kind of depends on what maybe part of jazz you're kind of interested in. Um, if it's doing kind of Joe Pass kind of thing, then you may lean towards Hollow Body or Wes Montgomery. You know, but players like John Scofield plays a very similar guitar to this one. Um, so kind of depends on what avenue you're going for. I've noticed a lot of the snarky puppy guitarists often are on Stratocasters, and so it kind of what your conception of what you want to hear and what instrument fits that best, I would say is probably where to go. And I'm sorry that doesn't really lead to a specific suggestion or an answer, but that's how I would tend to approach it. Why can't we play Stairway to Heaven in a guitar store? That's a good question. Well, I'm sure you can, but you probably get some looks. I think it's just that every that's sort of I would say for the sake of the employees, salespeople, you know, I would just not. But when I was younger, I would probably go into a guitar store and just do whatever I wanted. But now maybe, hopefully, I'm a little. I've grown a little more conscientious over the years, or maybe developed some wisdom or maturity. I don't know, um, but now if I walk into a music store, I pretty much don't even play a guitar. But there's a space in between. I think that's pretty reasonable, which is try it out with the intent of buying, and try it out with the intent of like is this a good fit for me, and play material that serves that purpose, and kind of don't set out to play a show or play too loud, or so there's a lot of shared airspace in the store. So anyway, those are kind of my thoughts on that. Also, if you do play Stairway to Heaven, make sure you can really nail it. um and I mean, I think if that serves what you're trying to do. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the kind of the basics um, of the tritone and the tritone substitution, and maybe we'll come back to that. Let me know if you're interested in that. But putting together chord melody, that is another area that I'd like to talk a little bit about today. So we've got another comment. Stairway in a guitar store. I won't even play it on the radio anymore. It's a really it's a great tune. I've taught it a bunch. It's a classic. It's um, really cool how it builds and everything. Um, but yeah, guess it it is what it is. I think it is a pretty awesome tune. All right, so I'll mention too, I am offering private lessons, and I have a really quick, easy sign up, a link in the description. You can actually schedule your time right then and there, and it will send you a link to the online meeting, and we will just simply meet at the time that you signed up for. So pretty cool. Check that out in the description below. And of course, you can contact me as well about that if you like. All right, let's talk about chord melody. I put together some a podcast a couple of days ago on sort of the concepts of developing a chord melody as it relates to Christmas time is here. Jeffrey says he'd like to hear more about the tritone substitution. Okay, great. So I will definitely get to that. So, the chord melody, one of the biggest issues there, I would say, is to know chords and chord inversions, and be able to take any note and say, well, that relates to the chord like this, in this way or something. So if you had the autumn leaves, right, we want to know how this note relates to A minor, right? Right, so we have the flat third of the chord, so it's the minor third of A minor. And then how do we, let's say the chord's A minor, the note is C, right? How do we kind of put that together? So an awful lot of voicings are either what are called drop 2 or drop 3 on the guitar, right? So when you go to play this, especially if you're looking at maybe creating something on the first string, harmonizing that, then try a drop 2 type voicing. And what happens is when you know the inversions of these, the root position ends up with the third respective to that chord. Third inversion has the root on top. Second inversion has the flat 7 on top. And then the first inversion has the 5th on top. So if you can kind of memorize those things and get comfortable enough with that, then you can kind of play it. So for example, if I go to G major 7, then I know it's root position, drop 2, that's going to give me the third, right? And then all the other chords, so still root on top for third inversion, third on top for root position, 5th on top for first inversion, and then the 7th on top for the second inversion, all that. All right, everybody. So that's a little short summation of creating chord melody. You have melody, you have the chord, and kind of squishing those together. So next up, we'll expand a little bit on the tritone substitution and all that. I'll mention I have one PDF available on the channel, on the store here. So check that out. It's the C minor drills. I think you'll get a lot out of that. And I have a video on C minor blues, and it's all about being able to play and outline changes on minor blues, but it will translate and help you out with all sorts of things as well. Okay, so I see I've got more comments, and I'm going to come back to those just as soon as I talk a little bit about the tritone substitution. Why don't we relate this to chords, right? So let's say we're in let's say we'll stick with autumn leaves here. So if you've got a D9, right, and you decide to substitute that with the A flat 7, okay, when A flat 7 goes to G major 7, it's going to land like that. Okay. When D9 goes to G7, it's going to land like this. Okay. So both offer us some tension, but the kind of the appeal of the tritone substitution is that you get something different, right, than this one. So the the A flat 7 is going to be more similar in sound to the D7 flat 9, right? So that's what one thing I would try to do is see if you can compare some of these chords, right? So say, okay, what is different about this voicing, and how does it compare? So you take the three tones on strings 2, 3, and 4, and experiment playing that just to kind of get this in your ear. The A flat, and then play those same 3 tones with the D flat, and compare. So A flat with those same 3 tones, D natural with those same 3 tones, right? So compare those so that, you go. Now in that case, I'm actually building a progression out of it, right? So I'm just playing D9, and then I'm playing A flat, dials in a little extra tension, right? So you can do. So then I'm actually kind of using both, and the contrast there really helps to propel things forward. So I actually did a few shorts on this, I think maybe a couple of months ago, where I compare those things. So take D9, right? And then compare that, keep these same 3 notes on strings 4, 3, and 2, and then compare that, put the A flat and let your ear kind of absorb that. A flat, D natural, right? So, and then kind of go through and do that with different chords. Take things that you're really comfortable with and know well, and then see if you can find the tritone away from the root note that you're working with. So let's say A flat 13. So we have A flat 13. Take the A flat, replace that with the D natural. I have to rearrange the fingers a little bit. Keep strings 2, 3, and 4 the same. You see, oh, okay, D sharp 9. So that's kind of a cool thing, and you can do this to effect. It's almost like being a bass player in a sense, because if you play if you played a bass line like that, right, or so you might try things with a circle of fifths, like let's say I'm D, G, just going through the circle of fifths, and you're just kind of going. So that would be D 13, and you're trying to go to G 9, right? So you're going, and then you play the the tritone away from the D, A flat 9, and it just creates a little half step into the G. And then you do the same thing. We're trying to go to C, so we play D flat 13 over it, for it, and then do that. So that's a little cool exercise you can try. So that you can create a little bit of tension, circle of fifths. All right, so Vendiota says, I'm trying to learn playing chord rock. I'm not sure if it's correct name. Maybe you can elaborate more on this. Is there any variation to this type of chord? Chord rock. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm going to take a guess at it. And then Levi, thanks for joining in. So I'll get to your question here in a moment. But I'm just going to take kind of a guess at what you are asking about, because I'm not exactly sure on that. But so if you're doing a rock tune, oftentimes it's going to be up what are called power chords. So those have a root and a fifth to them, and no third. So that often really works for heavier music, especially distorted guitars, because it seems to ring nicely with distortion. Levi asks how to use arpeggios on jazz solos. So great. Arpeggios are going to be a great way to outline chord changes, right? So the one area there is to see if you can work in some maybe voice leading into it. So if I have an A, let's say we take Autumn Leaves for an example. So if I take an A minor 7, D7, G, C, F sharp, half diminished, D7, to E minor. So what I would say to do there and to work at in your practice session is take a series of notes. Think about the last note that you play and play the closest available arpeggio tone of the next chord. That will help you to connect your lines and to build lines, because you don't really want to sound like right. Sounds like an exercise. It's good to know and be able to do that. But so if you take your arpeggios, and see if you can kind of string together lines that move through the progression. That would be a great way to play arpeggios. I would say when you go to perform and play, you're going to be playing more like you would be conversing, right? So more like language. So you just want to, in your practice session, learn the arpeggios and hear how inside those are as you play, and then get a sense for some tones that are outside of the arpeggio. Give it a little more color, because it's going to be, just playing arpeggios. It's just going to be kind of one dimension of things. So, okay. Let's see. I've got a question. Are you a fan of Randy Bachman? Yeah, I mean, um, that, um, yeah, I would say, maybe not total, um, uh, I'm not sure how to kind of put this, but yeah, I mean, I like and appreciate what he's done and the bands that he's in and everything. And I would consider him a real high level musician. So absolutely. But as my kind of my personal interest, I oftentimes listen to, um, maybe folks more in the jazz arena or rock arena as well. But I really appreciate all forms of music, and any guitarist who has made it, to that level is I would say, yeah, I would be a fan. Um, so let's see what we have here. Uh, Matthias asks, how do you work on triads? Okay, great. I'll talk a little bit about that. Levi says, thank you. How can you use the relative minor on major 7 chord on improvisation? So maybe I'll cover that real quick, and then I'll go over to triads. So let's say you're in, well, let's stick in the key of 1 sharp. So let's say you have G. You play the relative minor over the G, you're going to end up with kind of a 6 sort of sound, which is gonna work. It's going to be very close to the chord. It's going to be very consonant. The 6th is a consonant sound, and it's often used for tonic major chords anyhow. So playing an E minor 7 over the sound of G will be very, very much compatible. How do you work on triads? So triads are cool. Triads are great. I mean, this all of these things are great. One way that you can split up triads when you're thinking about tunes, and let's say we have A minor, and we're thinking about autumn leaves, is try to think about what are called the lower structure triads and the upper structure triads. So I'll talk kind of in extremes about that, so to create somewhat of a clear kind of delineation. But this also gets into the arpeggio playing. So if you have an A minor 7, okay, we actually have 2 overlapping triads here. So one thing you kind of do is play A minor triad. You could play a C major triad. And then they share 2 notes, right? They share the C and the E. Now, if the bass player is playing A, then you can focus on the C, right? So you'll end up collectively between the 2 of you, the bass and the guitarist, with A minor 7. So you're kind of playing a C major triad. Bass player is playing an A chord, they're playing the root note. So then you get the A minor 7. And then there are these tones that don't fit into the chord, but can give you some tension, right? So there we can think about B minor, right? So build a B minor triad, and then that could give us a little tension with our sound. sorry, B minor triad. And you can weave those back and forth. So you might play what's sometimes called a hexatonic scale or do triad pairs. So you're thinking B minor, A minor, B minor, A minor, B minor, and then A C. So sorry, let's do B minor and C. So B minor, C, B minor, C, B minor, C, right? And then just kind of weave those back and forth. So I would try to experiment with some of that, and even try to play a little bit on just one chord, and loop a chord, or play with a backing track and just loop that one chord or just set one chord, and just get into that change and get an idea for the tensions between those two. You can also go every other note in a key and try to go through and get a sense for those triads. So just take 3 notes. And then just spent a lot of time just doing a little bit at a time. Okay, everybody. Let's see. We've got some more comments here we'll get to. Let's see, what other kind of announcements can I offer folks out there? Let's see. So we've got I've got website I'm working on, the fretprints.com website. I'm working on that. I'm going to turn into a member site, member community. So visit there, go join my email list, and we're going to build some things there. I've got some great ideas for that. I'm going to do live streams and workshops and kind of webinar style, and I'm going to have exercises and stuff to do, as well as the Fretprints app. And I'm also going to work on building some courses, more on-demand type courses on that channel as well. So be sure to follow there. All right, so we've got a question about pentatonics. I apologize if I don't understand the language exactly, but I've got a sense you want to talk about pentatonic scales. And I talked a little bit about those earlier. Kind of a cool thing there too is to think about how we can alter pentatonics to fit our needs. Earlier mentioned a little bit, Levi asked about relative minor on the major 7 chord. So E minor pentatonic would be a great example of that. Apply the E minor pentatonic, which ends up being the G major pentatonic. So the relative minor major also applies to pentatonics, right? So we get like sort of a G6 kind of sound on that. And then try to alter your pentatonics, especially dominant pentatonic. So we have dominant pentatonic. You can alter that to give yourself a flat 9. Right. Sharp 9, you can do sharp 5 and sharp 11, all of those great things. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to call it here a day for today. Thanks so much for stopping by and listening. I do hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Keep an eye out for the thumbnails, not the thumbnails, but the shorts videos coming out. We're going to do at least two more this week on the chord melody for Christmas time is here. And then look out for the full version on Friday. Should be out on Friday, putting that together. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. And I will see you all in the next one. Have a great practice session.